I should have made the reveal a little more dramatic, but I got panicked with the new intro this morning. So we have a special guest today. It's Morgan.
Oh, not me.
And he will be joining us for the session today. So let's talk a little bit about so it's the Dawn War. First of all, welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. Last we left off, the first Dawn party members convinced Avandra to join them by brokering a deal between Pelor and Zahir and Pelor and Kala. And thus have created day and night, summer and winter, and the in-between seasons. Now, several months have passed since that session. Let's go ahead and take a quick moment to briefly describe what you've been up to. Obviously, so their main goal is traveling to the place to meet Aram. Jordan, why don't you describe what you have told your party members that place is?
Aram exists close by. No, it's a ways off. It's beyond the mountains. It might be the beginning of another plane. It's not really clear. He doesn't like to explain it. But it's 2-3 months travel, depending on how sidetracked we get. But it's a relatively easy journey.
So, over the last few months, very quickly, describe to me what you've been up to. Why don't you go first, Ruby?
What am I, the Mindy of this stream? All right. I probably have spent the last 3 months learning a little bit more about my companions. We all got through in together very abruptly. And what better way to spend 2 to 3 months of walking and avoiding folk than being nosy about the people you're traveling with. And at this point, Ruby, I probably would have been more open to Aravad's questioning.
Madrian.
In the past month, Madrian or I have not shaved, grown it out, and I think that I have a new shield that I found on one of my excursions of scouting with Aravad, which may have ended poorly, but Aravad can tell you about that. And outside of that, I think Madrian has been a little bit open about his family. I've been a little bit more revealing into my past work. And I've been giving my friends all the hugs they need per day.
Signy.
So, I have also been learning a lot more about my companions. And I've also started to learn not to be so cold towards them now that I'm, getting to know them more and caring about them more. I haven't been speaking to my sword as much. I think it might be is the word apprehension? I don't think it's the word apprehension. Maybe I'm nervous to talk to it. But I've still been sitting by myself most nights. Just staring at it.
Perfect.
I've also been more open too with my situation and family. I mean, I believe everybody knows now what happened to my husband, so, but I don't really like to talk about it that much.
And Aravad.
I have been, sort of you can't tell someone's story if you don't understand their motivations. And so I've been trying to understand my companions better. And in the natural give and take that is storytelling, I've been begrudgingly talking about myself a little more. I did have an excursion out with Madrian where we encountered some gargoyles, and in a bit of a moment, my sword was shattered. We did find some other materials, and I'm working on getting a new weapon or implement, but it takes time. With Ruby, I've managed to, well, we've talked a bit more about our place in the world and how we relate to celestials and gods, and probably been the most vulnerable with Ruby. And with Signy, we found an abandoned town. Well, I say abandoned. We found a town that was a victim of war. I think through that interaction, I learned a bit more of maybe how to guard myself against war, and I hope Signy learned a bit more of expression as we buried the townsfolk and gave them proper send-off.
If you would like to read these interactions, you can do so at your own peril on our Patreon. All of these will be, 2 of them so far have been posted, one between Aravad and Signy and one between Ruby and Madrian. On our Patreon, all you have to do is subscribe at the $3 tier, and you will have access to all of this. You will also have access to, what else? Vote for who you want to see in a roleplay addiction, which is a 30-minute video short between 2 or more characters. They're very good. On that note, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start off without, unless anybody has any objections, I would like to start us off as you are approaching Auram's temple. Does that sound good? Auram's temple is set at the base of a mountain. It is... If anybody has seen pictures of Petra, the treasury, it is essentially what looks to be a castle carved into the cliff face, a facade. It's the mountain that you see in front of you is a dark white, ashy, almost with a little bit of a reddish tone. And you see a grand opening. This opening through which is dark. Hold on, I gotta tell my partner to let my cat out. He got stuck in here. You see a few people milling about. They're mostly humans, and they all seem to be kind of be waiting, looking around, as if they are queuing to be heard or seen or spoken to. There is essentially a cleric at the front who is sort of taking numbers. It turns out that when someone dies, you may petition Aurum to have them returned to life if they perished too early. This trek is dangerous, as you all know. To get here, there is miles and miles of wilderness that you must cross. And Madrian, Ruby, Signy, and Aravad, you find yourselves standing in front of this massive cliff face. What would you like to do?
See, that wasn't so bad.
So, this is the place, yeah?
As far as I know, never actually been here.
Well, it looks mighty inviting, I guess.
Grand is the word that I was thinking of.
Imposing, more like.
What's imposing?
Well, look at it. I mean, it's so big.
Ah, yeah. I'll get that. Imposing means big.
Yes.
Sure. So, I don't 100% know how we're going to get in. We're obviously not the petitioners, like everyone else, so probably need to talk to the cleric and see what we could do.
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna go walk up.
You walk up, and as you do, Signy, you find yourself the subject of quite a few stares, even a few whispers. Around this part, people you would gather that most people have never seen an elf before. They're not being overtly hostile or even kind of rude, just wonder. They just stare and wonder.
I guess stares back.
You notice that this cleric is a human. She is, you recognize she is actually, well, she appears human at first, but you would recognize some features that Madrian has. She also has. She wears, even though it's cold, she wears like a halter white dress, and you see her shoulders. There are, as if tattooed with light, there are wings across her shoulders, feathers. And she wears a golden kind of tiara around her head. Hello. How may I help you?
My name is Signy, and these are my traveling companions. We need to speak to the god that resides here.
Aram, yes. Well, that can be arranged. Unfortunately, there is a brief waiting period. However, I can put your name down, and you will be seen within the next few hours.
Why are these people waiting?
Well, there has been much death recently, and these people are petitioning to have their loved ones returned to them. Only Aram has that power.
Interesting. And I turn around and walk back.
Would you like to be put on the list?
Yes.
All right. I will call you Signy when it is time, and you will be after this fine gentleman right here.
Who's the gentleman?
Who's the gentleman?
Oh.
You see a human.
He is clad in just kind of simple black robes, and he seems to have a small entourage with him, all covered in robes. There's definitely a smell of decay kind of coming off of him, and he's just kind of sitting on like a small stool and reading a book. You see kind of some of his entourage kind of seems to mill about. Some seem to be standing at attention.
How many do you have with you?
See here, and then so 10 total.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back to my companions.
Well, how'd that go?
Well, the priest said that we are going to be a couple of hours, but this one has a lot of people with him, and he reeks of death.
Most here bear that odor to some degree. Though there's something about him that unsettles me.
I'm gonna poke my head around Aravad's legs. Why does he unsettle you? He doesn't
I don't
look
know.
very imposing.
There's just something, I don't know. Individuals with great entourages that reek of death are not usually the types that we should be careful.
Hmm.
Well, don't worry about that. Careful's my middle name.
Is
Oh.
it now?
No, not at all, actually.
Well, I'm writing it down, and I'll take out like a little note and scroll that down.
Well, I'm gonna take a look at the line. See if there's anyone I know.
Make a perception check.
$17.
No, although the human you're in front of does seem familiar in a very almost eerie way. Not that you know him, that you've met him, but he keeps catching your eye.
Sound of that. I'm gonna scooch over a little bit closer to Ruby and Aravad. I'll lean in and I'll be like, yeah, I can't shake off the feeling that he's a little bit familiar. Don't know how.
Familiar. Go ahead, Ruby.
Oh no, you first.
Familiar to you as in you two have been buying bread at the same time, or familiar as in your tattoos?
I don't know. I want to look at my tattoos, see if any of them are today's date.
None of them are today's date.
I don't think I've met him. Maybe. Possibly.
Perhaps
Could I
one of
act-
those-
Go ahead.
Perhaps one of those people that you just passed by often enough. I mean, we have been traveling the road. Maybe you've seen them.
I think I would remember their faces. I mean, we haven't met too many people, yeah?
Can I make a perception check on Madrian's arms to
Yeah.
look at these tattoos?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. 10?
Seems like a bunch of scribble scrabbles.
Like what he would call scribble scrabbles, or what I would call scribble scrabbles?
What you would call scribble scrabbles.
Oh, jeez.
They look like, well, no, they wouldn't be his handwriting, would they? They would be somebody else's because they're tattooed.
Yeah.
In fact, they'd probably be your wife's handwriting, wouldn't they? Yep. Okay. So they're pretty good, but it's just they're small and hard to read.
Madrian, tell me, you've described books before as scribble scrabbles.
Yeah, they're like the big square things that got like the things and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
How do you read your tattoos?
Well, they've got like the crosses for like the month, and then you've got, well, months didn't really exist, did they? So they've got these markings for how long I think it's gonna be. And like sometimes I do it if it's like half a mark, it's like 10 years. If it's like a quarter of a mark, it's like a year ish.
So these aren't exact dates necessarily.
I mean, I can't get exact dates. That's crazy.
As they are talking, I have walked over. You! Hey! You!
Yes.
What is your name?
And why should I give it to you?
Because I asked for it.
You will know it soon enough.
Well, nameless one. We my companions and I need to go ahead of you. It is important. Probably much more important than yours.
I doubt it.
Doubt it. Are you here to wish for someone to come back? Because we are here to stop a war.
I am here to win a war. Go away.
Can I walk up to Signy and just start tugging on whatever cloth you have hanging out of your armor? Signy?
What?
Signy, what are you doing?
This is important. We can't just stand around and talk about what we need to do. We need to do it.
Signy, patience. I'm sorry, sir. My friend is not, from around here, and, I apologize for her rude behavior. And I'm gonna just, like, give you my best glare.
Sorry. Sorry, Ruby. I apologize.
Your small friend is wise. Do not worry. In the fullness of time, you will see Aurum.
Well, to be fair, I don't think that's exactly her concern. Signy, why don't you come back with us for just a few minutes? Please?
I give a glare as I walk back.
Glare at me or glare at the new person?
The new person.
Okay.
I think this entire time I've just been watching this crash and burn and like looking to Arvad and like looking to them like, oh.
So, if you're okay with it, we can fast forward to when you all are seen, if you'd like. But
I do
it looks
one
like,
thing
yeah,
real quick, yeah.
please.
So as I'm watching this interaction, going to just very, like, not making a big show of it, but I'm going to reach into my component pouch and I'm going to just pull out just two small, like, little orbs. One is a white, kind of chalky material, and the other is like a very silver material. Just going to like slowly grind them in my hands. And say, there's more to see here. I'm casting see invisibility. A light, like blue flash goes over my eyes.
Nobody invisible in my entourage.
Well, not necessarily just there. Just I'm looking around just to see what's going on here.
You catch a few glimpses up high of what you would recognize as a few small celestial kind of spirits that are in transit.
Interesting. Okay.
Aside from that, you don't see anything.
All right then.
After an hour or two, the line ahead of you vanishes. Sometimes people leave with a loved one that they did not enter with. Other times they leave in tears. It seems as though not every request is granted. As you get closer, you can hear the people in front of you petitioning, especially you hear the person in front of Nerol. It's a young woman who has lost her mother. Unfortunately, the young woman is starstruck by Aurum and is unable to even get out a sentence. And in his presence, she falters and someone who is she's obviously very distraught with herself, disappointed. She makes her way and leaves tears, face in her hands, tears in her eyes. And that is when you catch your first glimpse of Aurum. This courtyard is lit with hundreds and hundreds of small fires, tea lights. It is a massive open space, the sky above you, even though you swore there was a mountain here before. On the far side is a grand chair, and in it is a figure. This figure has a humanoid form, brilliant golden eyes, hair that starts black and fades to white, pulled back into a low bun, or a low kind of ponytail. They look stern. He looks stoic. And finally, you watch as Neryl, or as your companion, not your companion, your friend. Y'all, I need some caffeine. As your friend, the person in front of you is called. Enter.
Get up off of my little camp stool, hand it to just air, and it disappears into space. And then kind of pull a staff out of space and start walking up to this being, my entourage following behind me. My Lord Neryl, I bring you good tidings in this dark time. I bring you a weapon to win this war.
A weapon?
Yes.
Speak more.
And then I'll look back at my robed companions, and they will all shrug off their robes, and you will see two emaciated bodies in armor, but standing tall, and surrounding each of them, 4 desiccated, rotting corpses standing there. And our armies, need never be lack of bodies to fuel this war. I have devised a way to bring back the lifeless corpses of those who perish. With this, we shall never be short of troops, and these primordials will cower before us.
These creatures are dead.
Yes.
Yet they have animation. I sense no soul from them.
Correct. They will obey all orders. They will not stop. They will sweep over the enemy like a tide.
And when they die? Or...
They do not. When they are destroyed, they are destroyed.
What is required to raise them?
Only a small part of one's soul.
Your name? Again?
I am Neryl.
Neryl. A small part of one's soul. You say this as if it is a trivial matter.
It only requires the barest amount to give them animation. The body requires little. And then these, and he commands his whites to come forward, are imbued with the ability to make more.
How much of this can we hear?
All of it.
Yeah, Arvad is visibly shaken.
I am not happy. Not happy at all.
Signy looks whatever about it.
Nerl,
Yes, my lord.
you have created a new form of magic.
Yes.
This is an accomplishment few will ever boast.
Yes.
It is a shame that you have wasted your power on such a filthy and horrible objective. Life
You think that
is only life because of death. Life only has meaning because we die. If you are using your soul, you are one bargaining chip as a mortal, might I remind you. Tearing pieces of it away. I warn you, Nerl, if you continue to practice this magic, one day you will have as little soul as your animations. One day you will be stripped of it as well.
I disagree.
Explain yourself.
The soul, which is immortal, using small parts of it may dim it a bit, but I shall not go into that astral sea easily. There are methods I am working on.
Methods.
I do not fear you, Aurum. I wish only to help.
Help.
To win this war against these primordials.
And
There is nothing to fear in new knowledge, new practices.
Ordinarily, I would agree.
What greater benefit for when a man dies in service of defending that the meat he leaves behind can be put to good use instead of being worm feed. All should be proud to have this gift.
I hear you, Nerl. However, I cannot accept this. There is nothing I can do to stop you. Your creations are your own. But death is a part of the natural cycle that should not be breached. Not for the sake of power, not for the sake of war. If we are fighting for that soul which you sully, which you tear apart. Not to mention, you are raising creatures without their consent.
These are not creatures anymore. They are just bodies. A rock does not give consent to be used. Water does not give consent to be manipulated and turned into a tidal wave. Why should meat have to give consent?
Because that meat was once a life. I tire of this. Our meeting is over.
I see that. My condolences. And then I'll walk out with my entourage following.
Okay.
So, the entire time that's going on, I am just watching this narrow person, and I'm trying to get the sense of anger, joy, like any emotion, anything that says that this is a being still.
Neryl or the creatures?
Neryl.
What does Arvad see?
I mean, you would definitely see him. He's very calm, obviously, but you definitely see some tension come to him when he is rebuked by this god. There definitely seems to be there is an arrogance there that he is not used to being rebuked by anyone.
Yeah, he doesn't ask for permission often, it seems. So, okay. Where does he go when he leaves?
I mean, he starts to he gets back to the outside of the temple area, and I think starts kind of standing around a little bit, just kind of writing some stuff in a notebook. He's kind of pulled out his little camp chair again. Seems to be preparing some things. You see a doorway appear, and he walks into this doorway, and then the doorway disappears, and then he comes out later with just kind of a couple other small books, and starts just kind of putting down some symbols on the ground.
However, you do not get to see this because it is your turn. Signy, you and your companions may approach.
Are you ready, everyone?
As all ever be, I guess.
Lead the way.
Well, I mean, we're only meeting a god, right? We've done that plenty of times.
That's our fifth one.
As you approach, you are from a distance. It's harder to feel this, but as you get closer, you sense that there is a great power here. This was similar to something that you felt when you were near Pelor, Zahir, Kala. However, you get the sense that just being around Aram, his power is double, triple that of Pelor, of Kala, of Zahir. Arvad, you would liken this to the story, how the stories described Io before his demise.
Oh, so he's like old school god.
Yes. From your studies, you would know that he is one of the first gods. And his dominion is greater than that of any other god. Almost any other existing gods anymore. Especially now that Io has passed.
Gross.
Approach, young ones. You make your way through the sea of tea lights. And as you approach, he somewhat diminishes in size to be something closer to what you are. Though you get the sense that he is actually much larger than life itself. State your case.
I look towards Signy. You're probably the best one for this.
Am I?
Aurum is very matter of fact.
Okay.
We'll be right behind you.
Very close. And I will cast guidance.
Okay. Stacy is nervous.
I sense trepidation. You are here not for the usual cause, I see. For something more.
No, Aram. We are here to ask for your help and join us to win a war.
A war, you say?
Between the primordials and the celestials.
You mean the war?
Yes, I do.
Oh gosh. My bad.
Don't attack me!
Why should I?
Is Signy pausing?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I guess I'll speak up. Well, you see, if you don't help, more gods are gonna die, and it's probably a problem.
Sometimes even the divine must go.
But is a god ever killed another god?
Camille doesn't know at this point if that's happened yet. Divine beings respect each other and know. No, another deity has not been slayed by one of their own kind.
Well, begging your pardon, but I'm pretty sure one of the gods is gonna kill another god in like 50 years or something.
What do you know of this?
Well, is it all right if I ask some questions? Because I don't really understand myself. To be honest, I didn't meet a god until like a month ago, so this is a new experience for me. But
State your name.
my name is Madrian Wolfhart.
You're an Asimar.
Yeah.
Of whom?
I don't know. My mother was Bevretta Wolfhart.
You don't know. Very well. Continue.
Well, I get visions sometimes of things that are gonna happen. Things that are mostly always happening. And my latest one, there was a being that was like red and glowing, and a blue one. And one of the gods stabbed the other one and killed it.
How do you know that this was a god killing another god?
I mean, I felt like Zahir was there, and I've met Zahir. There was like a flash of the scales and the teeth at the beginning.
That is concerning. Small one. You are a cleric of Sarenrae, are you not?
Yes.
I had heard she was gathering divine powers in her quest to end the war. Did she send you?
Yes and no.
Explain your
I feel
answer.
like fate sent me more.
Ah, fate. You speak of fate as if you know.
Well, I certainly don't claim to know everything. That's for sure. But I do know that the quest that we're on is an important one. Perhaps you should consider your own powers, your own domain at our request. For if all the mortals die in this war, which is sure to happen if the primordials take over, you have no more souls to collect. You have no one to worship you, and therefore would you not die?
I am already consumed by my current duties, as you see. There are those who would seek to besmirch the sanctity of life. You must justify for me why you think I should abandon those duties and fight in this war, dedicate the many creatures who serve underneath me. Tell me, what do you know of death?
I know quite a bit about death. I've caused it. I'll start wringing my hands, kind of fidgeting with my fingers.
Go on.
I was the cause of... It's my fault, Isabella is gone. I had to watch her blood on the stones of the city floor. I had to watch the life leave her eyes because of me, because of who I am. And I will be damned if anyone tells me that I know nothing of death, of sorrow, of fear. Life is precious. All life. Regardless what other people think. And if you care anything for life, then you need to help us stop these primordials.
I hear your plea, halfling. He turns to look at the others. Elf. What do you know of death?
I know everything of death.
Do you? Your kind is immortal.
I have caused countless deaths for a cause. I've caused so much hurt and death for a greater good. My husband, Asmund, died for a god, our god.
Did he die? Though, truly. It is my understanding that when an elf dies, they return to Arvindor to be reborn again, simply because he is not with you. Does not
And what
mean
do
he
you
is...
say about the souls that have died that are not elves? Are they just gone?
I was not speaking of those souls. I asked you specifically, elf. What you know of death.
I know it's pain. I know the loss. And even though I act like I don't care that things are dead, it pains me. I see every face that I've killed. Every moment when I cut down somebody. Everything I remember. And I must live with that.
I hear you, elf. Asimar.
Well, yeah?
You don't know death, do you?
Well, I know enough to, I like to avoid it. And I like to, give people the chance to,
You cannot
surrender?
take a life. You cannot end a creature. I've heard of you.
Well, is that a good thing?
You cannot tell me of death. So tell me of life. And what it means to you.
Well, life is, about living. It's, about the small moments of happiness you can find along the way, whether it's with loved ones, a hobby, good friends. It's about memories and making a coalition. Oh, that's too big of a word. I wouldn't know that. It's about
You
making a collection.
Speak of what it is about. Tell me what your life means to you, what the lives of those you love mean to you.
It means everything.
You say that as if it is a question.
I mean,
Speak true, Asimar.
It means everything to me. There isn't a thing I wouldn't do for my family. For
Nothing.
the people. Nothing.
Including... Well, begs the question... What if the only way for the war to be over was to... sacrifice them? What would you choose?
Then I wouldn't do it.
You would condemn an entire future.
What future is there if there's nothing left
For
to come
you.
home to?
Nothing left for you, but there is family for everyone else. But everyone else's wife and children and husbands and sisters and mothers and fathers get to come home.
Well, I can see your point there. You know, maybe it's greedy. Maybe I'm selfish. Well, I mean, I'm only mortal. All I know is unless more powerful and more important people than me who care a whole awful lot, if no one helps this world in the material plane, it's not going to get better. It's not.
You would have me risk my loved ones, my family, and you are not willing to risk yours. I see. Human. What have you to say?
There is risk. And though Madrian isn't willing to risk the lives of his family, he is risking his own, which rightfully is the only thing he can. This is much more than the loss of, or the causes of death. This is also the loss of life. We're talking a lot about one half of your domain. Your domain is the cycle, yes? We're talking about preserving all of it. I'm talking about preserving the right of existence. When the gods came together and sang in the universe, or so the stories always say, they found something sacred in the creation. You, all accounts, you were there for this. You know better than I. We are... I've lost children. I've failed to protect. I've loved. I've experienced. I've traveled. I've seen so much. And yet, in the course of life, it's so little. My one sliver that I have experienced, what I have had, it's nothing. So much would be lost if greater powers sit by. Yes, you have a great domain to keep. Yes, it is vital. But there is also a time to act. And we don't ask you without risk ourselves. We don't come here on some fever dream thinking that the Celestials from their various homes are going to sweep in and come. We are here. We're not asking you to do this for us. We're asking you to do this with us.
I hear you, human. Your race is tenacious and determined. Osiris should be proud. And halflings, I hear you've been adopted.
In the kindness of one god, yes.
I have a great domain, yes. I risk much by entering battle. I risk everything. But it is mortals that I risk it for. You are correct, it is my domain of life and the cycle. Be warned, travelers, of the consequences of your asks. He holds out his hand, and with a flame produces a small object. And with a small gesture, you watch a silver coin flutter towards you, Arvad. It bears a symbol. When you need me, my legion and I, we will be there.
Thank you.
You are dismissed.
Did I overhear their audience? Okay.
You all make your way out, and that is where we are going to take a very quick break.
Oh!
Oh my god, it felt so short.
It's a little short. We still have about 10 minutes until noon,
Oh,
however.
I felt like time was flying.
But we're going to run our ad break, and then we will be back with the consequences of this. And, yeah. Everybody please watch our lovely ads by our lovely sponsors, And
Woo!
we will be right back. Welcome back. Now, you have just left. Welcome back to everybody. During the first half of the session, Ruby, Arvad, Madrian, and Signy, who is eating, just petitioned the god of life and death, Aram, to join them in their quest, and he accepted. Now, they are exiting the temple of Aram to find Neril still there. Neril, who is the first necromancer, who has invented creation of undeath. The session is yours.
So we're like exiting the temple, correct?
Whoa, that went well. Got this cool coin.
That is a pretty good coin. Yeah, I like it a lot. So I think this entire time I've been trying to place how I recognize Nerul.
Neril.
So I'm gonna give him a good once over. Blatantly. G'day, mate.
Good afternoon.
Is it afternoon already?
The line was quite long.
Oh, that it was. But, I mean, what is time when you're having fun, huh?
That is a very interesting question. I shall have to ponder it.
Well, you can have fun doing that. Pleasure to meet you, I suppose. Nice, entourage. That's still too big of a word. Nice group you got there. I've never seen anything like it. How'd you manage to do it?
I created magic.
I mean, how does one create magic, though?
With great care. And with study. And a good teacher. I sat at Coralon's knee. He was...
Signy, I hear that. What do you
Signy-
mean?
Yeah, you would know that no elf gets to learn from, or no non-elf gets to learn from Coralon.
What do you mean that you sat at Coralon's side? What do you mean that he taught you?
I am the first necromancer, but before that I was, and still am, one of the first non-born casters.
No.
Your friend there, he was born with his gifts. I was not. I studied, I learned, and I sought great teachers. Coralon, in his chaotic wisdom, saw fit to teach me.
But you are a human. You are not an elf. Only elves can be by Coralon.
I was not created by him, but I impressed him as such, much more than his cowardly and unfaithful children. And so he taught me.
Signy, I'm gonna stand up a little bit taller. Tell me, why do you think that Coralon was impressed by your raising of the dead? I do not believe that is something that he taught you.
That is quite correct. I made this myself.
Then it seems that you're a failure.
At?
at his teachings. You went against his ways and did what you thought was best.
Exactly.
But in the
Like he
end,
teaches.
you failed with Coralon and you failed with Aurum.
I hardly failed with Aurum. He just did not accept my proposal.
That is failing.
You are wrong. But I did not fail
I?
in Coralon's teachings. He teaches to be oneself, to always be true, to move with the wind, to change. Well,
So is
I
your true
changed
self
the
a
world.
monster then?
Some may call me that. But that is not what I am. I am an innovator.
Well,
I am progress.
I'm gonna pat Signy on the shoulder. Well, there's no need to get off on the wrong foot. Things are getting a bit heated. Maybe, we should, call it a day, and we'll be on our way, and you can do whatever you want. Right? I'm not gonna tell you what to do.
Actually, I do think we got off on the wrong foot. I apologize, Elf. I did not mean to insult you. I overheard your pleas to Aurum.
Do I believe him?
About his apology?
Yeah.
I certainly don't.
Yeah, neither do I.
I will walk up to Neryl. Hello.
Hello.
You were saying?
Yes. I overheard your plea, and a well-done job it was to get him to join the fight. I do believe that these primordials need to be put down. You may not agree with my methods, but help is help.
Well, then perhaps, considering that our end goal is the same, maybe you could be convinced to... And I'm going to look at your entourage. Perhaps modify said methods so that we can actually achieve the same goal.
I do not think my methods need modification, but
Agree
I
to
do
disagree.
think that is fine. Do you wish my help in this fight? I give it freely.
I mean, as long as you're not going to use those things, an extra hand wouldn't hurt.
But a living one is preferred.
Well, I think you will need help. I think you will need my help. I give you this. And he reaches out his hand, and his pinky falls off into his finger, into his other hand, and it withers away to a bone. He holds it out to you, Ruby. Break this when you need assistance, and my armies shall arrive.
I go to reach out at first, and then grab my handkerchief and wrap it up. Thank you, I think. Put it in my little pocket.
Gross. Just gross.
No, I believe that's my cue to leave. Thank you again. I'm walking.
Tell me, Neryl, this... I'm not calling it magic. This thing that you're doing, do you find the pieces, or do you make the pieces?
I am not cruel. I find them. These are, and he points to the two whites. These two were lieutenants underneath me. I have given them the blessing of their minds past death. They are not mindless. The others, brigands.
They are not mindless, but they are not whole either.
They know what they... Oh,
You walk a careful line, Neryl.
Always.
I pray you don't cross over. For now, this is simply disgusting and the waste of a powerful mind, but I fear that in your desperation for power and relevance, someday you're going to decide finding isn't enough.
I would watch my tongue, boy.
You're human, or you were at some point, yes?
I still am.
Questionable. I hope that in that moment where that choice comes to you, you reach out for Osiren. You may stray far, but he will help bring you back.
You think yourself better than me.
Yes.
I wasn't muted, was I?
No.
Not at all.
But that's okay.
Why do you think this?
You really don't want me to continue this line of conversation. So thank you for the finger. I'm sure we will put it in a bag and forget about it forever. Probably toss it into the abyss. But we'll be on our way.
I will cast Dominate Person on Aravad.
I will cast Counterspell.
Oh god.
Does dominate person, is that vocal and somatic? Or verbal and somatic?
Let me see here.
It's okay, we gonna die here, bitches!
It's verbal and somatic, yes.
Okay. I don't think Badgerin would see it because he's already walking and he's probably like 60 feet the opposite way at this point.
Taking a picture of my dad, send to Camille.
Oh my god. I'm on edge right now. Holy shit.
I'll send it to the
Well,
I'll send it to the group chat, yeah. Yeah. My bonus on spell stuff is +9.
It's just your spellcasting modifier, so it's just
+5.
your +5 for charisma.
Yep. So that's a total of 20.
By 3, yes, that succeeds.
Interesting.
I was happy to leave this at friends. That we weren't ever going to talk again, but it would be an interesting story point. Never show up in our battlefields. Never come to our aid. If you will sully everything that we attempt to do.
You will
Ruby,
fail
can I
then.
see that?
I'll reach into my pocket the whole time, keeping my eyes locked on Neryl. Then I'll just hand the whole handkerchief over to Aravad. I'm not taking that thing out.
And once it gets in my hand, there's like a blue glow that like comes up my arm into it, and I cast Inflict Wounds on it, and just dust it.
Oh, is it okay.
Your name will never be in our stories. And I walk away.
I will grab Signy's hand if she will allow it.
I will.
And the last thing I say to Neryl before I also walk away.
You come near my friends again, I will surely end your life. Don't doubt that.
I have nothing to say. I'm not gonna say anything.
Look at this small halfling. And then just turn and go back into my pocket dimension.
I really want to counterspell that transportation spell just to be an ass, but I'm not.
Can I get some cards? Thanks. I'm stressed out. It's fine. Okay, so we're gonna do, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the music so I can breathe. I'm going to switch to a black screen so that Morgan can hop off the Zoom call so he can do whatever. Let's give an amazing, special, awesome shout out to Morgan, who is not actually a bad person at all in real life, who plays a very creepy, scary bad guy.
Oh my god, Morgan!
Ah!
Holy cannoli!
He seemed like a nice guy.
Nothing suspicious there.
Eminently practical, I think.
Oh my god.
We will be right back. All right, Morgan, go ahead. Oh no, y'all are all ready. Oh, sweet. Here we go. Y'all are in the right good spots. Okay. Okay. That was very stressful. All right. Friends. Also, can we give one more special shout out to Morgan for his amazing role playing? Holy shit. We will get him to join us for our call outs as well. Please give him some call outs in the general chat. Especially playing a bad guy can be hard, so please show him some love in general chat for me. If you're not in our Discord, please join our Discord. Okay. Sorry for breaking everybody's ears earlier. I have a lot of feelings. So, all of you have begin to leave Arum, A-Words, okay? A-Words, Arum's temple. It is about a week later that you get the call. Ruby. Ruby, you hear a voice in your head, and with this voice is actually Ruby. It's the Everlight. I call you to battle, love. In 3 weeks' time, we strike against Nikal. Nikal is known as the Glowing Deep, and together with Pelor, Cord, and Akra, who is now to be called Bane, we will fight. Gather whomever you can, whomever you will, and I will see you there, my dearest. You get a flash in your mind of a battlefield. It's a long, essentially a trench between two mountains, a valley. That's what that's called. and you know the location instinctively in your heart. It'll take about 2 weeks to get there, so you don't have a lot of time to waste. Would you like to say anything back?
May your grace give us strength to survive this battle. I know our work is not yet done. Thank you.
Oh dear. Aravad, Igni.
Ruby, what's wrong? What's wrong?
The Dawnflower, she just reached out to me. There is a valley about 2 weeks' journey from here. We need to be there. She's calling Cord and Akra and or Bane, I suppose, Bane. And we have to fight Nikal in 3 weeks' time.
Yes.
Do I know who Nicole is?
Why don't you make a check?
Which kind? Natural 20.
Oh,
so
God,
whichever kind
well.
it is.
Yeah, you know of Nikal, of the Glowing Deep. He's a primordial.
Given the theme of this campaign, I am shocked.
Right?
Yes.
Let's see if I can find a picture.
Do I know, like, among primordials, like, where in power?
Top 20%?
Oof. Maximum oof. Alright.
Like, not as big as the one that slew Io. Not as great as Ericus. I don't know how to pronounce that. But up there.
Okay. Oh. I mean, I guess I knew that we were going to be fighting eventually. That's just, oh, that's a lot. Okay. What else do we need to do? Does anyone else... Madrian, Signy, this will be a battle. I know you've both recently sort of rearmed a bit. There is a crafter I need to visit.
A few questions. What kind of primordial is he? It?
Well, the call is known as the Glowing Deep.
So like a rock?
I'm assuming it's an oceanic primordial.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, it's one of the greater water beings.
We might want to be getting something to breathe water then?
Yes. You know, in the town where my enchanter is, there was a potion seller as well. We might want to inquire as to their strongest potions, because this will be the hardest battle we've had yet. Maybe ever, depending on how this war goes.
You know, I've been thinking about it. Did Aram ever identify either of those gods that I asked him about? I don't recall he did.
He didn't seem to think they were gods. He kept questioning you on that.
I mean, to be honest, he was questioning me a lot, yeah.
That's kind of his
Like-
nature, I guess.
Put me in for the burner. But, yeah. I don't know much about fighting, primordials. But if you're, telling me it's something that we need to do, then we should do it.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. This particular primordial will seek their goal is to, raise the oceans. The material plane will become a vast sea, and mortals will be sustenance for the greater creatures of the depths. You all ever heard of a kraken?
What now?
Have you seen an octopus or a squid?
What?
What is a squid?
Oh, you all need to go to the coast more. Basically, it's a giant thing that lives under the water that has 8 or so arms, and it eats, and it's the size of a galleon. That is a child of Nakal. That'll work.
Oh, at least it doesn't have swords.
No.
That is great artistry, Ruby.
Truly the gifted among us.
Yeah. Well, I think I understand better now.
I know that krakens have an affinity for lightning, channeling it through the water to assault their prey. Would I know anything about Nakal and like what type of magics they favor?
Can I have guidance? Part of that?
As he's trying to think.
I mean,
Yeah.
does my previous nat 20 bleed over into this?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Okay.
Nakal is of, you're right, lightning and water. Imagine, for players, just imagine a kraken on steroids. Whatever could create a kraken, that's Nakal. Larger than anything you've ever seen. Also, give me a military strategy roll, which would be, go ahead and give me an intelligence check. You do have you do have an advantage from the chat.
My
Actually-
guidance that?
Yeah.
Dope. Can bards inspire themselves?
Not you.
Oh, okay.
Some bards can.
Okay, I couldn't remember. All right. And roll. Okay, there's a 13 and an 8 plus 2 plus. Oh, okay. 15 plus 18?
That's pretty good. You would also recognize that your job in this battle would be to as like the ground forces. Whereas ordinarily you all are taking on the big bads. In this scenario, in this big battle, it would be the gods versus the primordials, and you would be taking care of the ground cover so that the gods can focus on their target. You would be less worried about Nakal as the krakens he releases, or as the primordial creatures that he releases.
Okay. So, water elementals, possibly a kraken, hopefully not. We're here for the ground troops. We don't really stand a chance fighting Nakal. I mean, one of his eyes is bigger than all of us together. It's just not something we would do. But thankfully, we have been recruiting. So, we should probably try to find something that can resist lightning if we do encounter krakens. Water elementals usually just hit you. They do try to suffocate you. So I think Madrian was correct in we need water breathing. Ruby, Signy, thoughts?
I agree. I think that we should be prepared for a fight that is this magnitude, as you say.
So yeah, I'm just a cleric, so I figured battle would come at some point, but it's not really my realm of knowledge. So potion of water breathing, got it. Something against lightning, okay.
And then I have my fair share of components. Are you all lacking in any of those?
I'd like to get a diamond, if that's all right. I've got this one spell, like if one of you, I can kinda like save you.
Oh,
I've never used it. I've never used the spell. Just know I can do it.
I suppose I could always use a few more.
So we can offline. We can talk about the supplies that
Sure.
you need and the things
Sure.
that you'd like to get. There is something, I do have an idea of what I would like to do with the last bit of our session.
okay.
We will cover travel in any IMRP we do. So if you'd like to know what happens between right now and 30 seconds from right now, check out our Patreon. I guarantee it's not going to be story breaking. So if you don't have the funds or the means to do so, don't worry. And also, feel free to reach out to me if you just want to read, but you aren't able to subscribe to our Patreon. I'm always happy to share that kind of stuff. We are going to have the rest of the session start out 2 days before the actual encounter is planned, and y'all are camped out just outside of the battlegrounds. How does that sound?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What does your campsite look like?
What do the battlegrounds look like?
So, between you are at the very entrance to this long valley. What this valley looks like, if you were looking at it from a bird's eye, is it looks like a mouth. It starts off small and narrow with a narrow passageway, and then it opens up in the center. You notice there is a bit of a lake in there, and then it continues on and closes off miles and miles down. It also gets taller as you go towards the center, so it's like a big basin. Just on the other side is the sea. There are pretty heavy tree coverage where you are. All around you are human troops, or not human, just human troops, but troops of all kinds. Followers of Bane, military, basically military fighters, the equivalent of a mercenary or of an army of followers of Akra, or Bane now, as he's called. There are, let's see who else is fighting in this. Cord. You see a shit ton of monks, of other fighters, of sailors who have come in. Basically, there's movement all around the camps. There's hundreds of thousands of people, of humans, of creatures. Every once in a while, you catch sight of a deva or other celestial beings. There's some battle going on. You catch wind of a battle going on way like 2 miles north of a group that got caught by a bunch of giants who are coming in for the fight as well. They're too far for you to do anything, but you can kind of hear the fight, and you feel that sense of urgency that, like, basically within your soul and your bones.
Are there any devoted of Osiren here?
Why don't you make a perception check?
Cool. 15.
Yeah, you find a group of about 30 paladins, clerics, fighters, etc. A band, essentially a brigade of group. Not the brigade, a brigade. They're all human. I don't want to call them stoic. They are in a big camp together. They seem to be in a meditative kind of calm, a calm before the storms type of scenario. And they are maybe a 30-minute walk from your campsite.
Okay. I would spend some time moving through the different camps. I've interacted with a lot of these religious groups before, and so I would try to sing songs of like the thunder and lightning pounding the ground, and when I'm among the followers of Cord, and just try to amp everybody up just a little bit, get everybody focused. When I get to the followers of Osiren, I don't come in very flashy. In fact, my armor and my cape and everything change colors to a very muted brown. I'll walk into the camp. Hello, greetings.
You see a human man, maybe in his 60s, gray hair, grizzly beard, very fit. Oh, hello. How can we help you?
We've not met before. I tend to travel to many of the temples of Osiren.
Are you a follower as well?
Of a sort.
Very good. You're welcome in our camp. Will you join us?
Yes. Tell me, when was the last time you had anyone share any of his messages or works?
We have a priest with us, Jonathan.
Excellent.
He reads daily.
Excellent. Can I see him?
Of course. Jonathan. You see, there's actually a 17-year-old boy comes out. All limbs, just long and gangly. Kind of stumbles out of the tent with a couple of books strapped to his side. Oh, yes, hi. How can I help you? Greetings. Hi.
Greetings.
Hi.
My name is Arvadjael.
I can't pronounce that. Nice to meet you.
That's fine. I'm from somewhere far away. I too am a priest in the service of Osiren.
Oh, wow. It's nice to meet you. I'm they call me a priest, but I know that I study the books and I read to them, but
Have you ever had a chance to meet Tevlaniel? Many of the priests do.
No, Tavlaniel.
I have a feeling you will someday.
Wow.
You're scared.
Yeah.
Is this your first large battle?
Yes.
Life is sacred, isn't it? It's scary when you come up against something. People will die. Men and women will likely die.
Yes, I'm aware, but if we can make a difference at all, it will have been worth it.
Exactly.
And there's no one else I'd rather fight for.
Yes. His blessings are many. Would you terribly mind assisting me in leading the call to arms for our followers?
Of course.
And I will reach into my bag and I'll pull out a censer and I'll pull out several various priestly implements. My armor and stuff will change to a more fitting attire of a priest of Osiren. Men, women, all gathered. Please come here. We've not met before. Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
I
go
was
ahead.
just going to say that they do so. You see the 30 or so members of this camp start to huddle around this big fire and around you.
We have not met before, but we share a common connection. This will not be an easy day tomorrow. Those here, there are some humans among the other camps, but largely they are filled with many members of the other races. We are blessed to have their assistance. We are blessed to see them all here. But we must remember why we are here. The gift of Osiren is the gift of unyielding tenacity. It is the gift of finding a way through the impossible. Our lives are shorter. Our time is precious. As we go forward, and I'll begin swinging the censer back and forth, and the incense will begin kind of filling the area. As we go forward, know that you carry the message of Tevlaniel. You embody the voice of Ardenea, and through your sword, you carry the might of Asmodeus. We will see this through. And in your heart, you carry the love of Osiren.
A great battle cry, a cheer goes up, and you feel your heart swell just from the reaction, the devotion, the adoration of these people being lifted up to your god. But you catch an eye just outside of the group. She has green eyes and blonde hair. And she gives you a knowing smile.
I will hand the censer to Jonathan, and I'll say, you have guided this group well. Stay the path, stay the course. And one day I believe you will be a prophet.
Thank you, that's a lot, but thank you.
And I'll leaving the censer and everything behind, I'll walk out.
You see her standing there. She's got a proud smile.
I didn't expect to see you here.
Well, didn't expect to see you here. She will, if you will let her wrap her arms around your neck and kiss you.
I will.
You must...
It's been...
Go ahead.
It's been too long, my love.
You must promise me to be careful.
Of course. I'm always careful.
You are never careful.
You should see the band that has assembled around me. They are magnificent. Madrian is... He is a force of personality to be reckoned with. He is truly the heart of our little company. Signy is the iron will, the determination. There is a softness, but there is also an understanding that we will conquer. It's amazing to watch her. And you would love Ruby. Oh, you would love Ruby.
Arvad.
Yes, Ray.
Do not get yourself killed, please.
I won't do that again.
It was hard enough bringing you back from the brink once.
I know.
I could not bear it if I lost you. Do you hear me?
I will never stray far.
Very well.
Do you want to come meet them? And I will take her hand and just drag her to the group.
Okay. Party, you see Aravad returning with a young woman, a human woman at his side. She has long, kind of flowing blonde hair, brilliant green eyes, and a warm smile. What's up, Signy?
I am not there.
Oh shit, excuse me.
Oh.
Signy is not there.
I think Madrin's asleep.
So it's just Ruby?
Well, I think he's there, and I think he'll wake up if anyone
Oh
comes
no.
stumbling in the
You
camp.
don't get to wake up. I'm gonna shake you awake.
Adrian, Arivad's coming.
What? Oh, I didn't steal the sweet roll.
What?
What? No, what? Sorry.
Never mind. Just stand up.
All right, I'll stand up. Hello, Aravad and company.
Where's Signy?
I don't know.
Oh, she may have gone off. Hope she returns soon.
I cannot
everyone,
stay for long, but it is
I
a
know.
pleasure to meet you all.
Everyone, this is Ray.
Pleasure to meet you.
It's good to meet a friend of a friend, yeah?
Always. I hope that you will all look after each other in this coming battle.
Ray is consistently worried about me. It's fine.
I mean, I'd be worried about you too if I liked you a lot. Like, you run into branches all the time.
That's true.
I do not bear your skill in running through the forest. However, well, you all have done a splendid job so far.
We will keep him safe, I promise.
He's in good hands.
Very well. It is wonderful to have met you. May Osiren's blessing be upon you all. I do have to go. But thank you for the introduction.
Another time, my love.
She'll pull you close, and if you'll let her another kiss.
I will.
She'll give each of you a handshake. Ruby, she seems extra delighted to meet you. It looks like she's never met another halfling, or a halfling, which is a common response that you get. So she gives your hand like a very warm, tender shake. Very well. Goodbye. Madrian.
Yeah?
This is about the time. 1 second.
Hello, Madrian.
Oh gosh. This is about the time that you hear.
Hello, Madrian. It feels like years since I last saw you. I know with every passing day, the world grows more dangerous for you and your friends. Everyone. I do hope you're staying safe, getting sleep. I send you all of my love, Maddie. I can't wait to see your face again. Hello, Madrian.
Oh gosh, sorry, play it repeated.
And I can reply to that, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hello, my love. It's, does that count as a word? Sorry, that's out of character. It's been a while. I've missed you greatly. I'll be sending you, like, 3 more times tonight. How are the kids? Sarah, Seema? I miss you all dearly, and I'm keeping safe. And then I'll burn a slot to send again a follow-up message. Every step I take away from you is the hardest step I've taken in my life so far. I'm trying to get sleep, and as always, you're the one dream that I'm pleased to see. I met a strange man named Nerul. I'm burning 2 words on that. He created new means of magic to animate dead people. Not sure if that's possible. Don't know magic. You know magic better than I. Then send again. So I think that's all my spell slots for sending. Let's see.
You can upcast it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, so I'm perfect. I love you and miss you. I'm about to fight something called a Kraken. With the gods. I just really miss you. And I can't wait to come home soon. I don't want this spell to end. I really, really, really don't want this spell to end. Bye. And then I'm out of sending, so I'll scry on her with the ring. Oh, wait, I have one more sending! Ha! With the ring. Just kidding. I figured I'd use this silly ring. I'm glad it's not silly. I'm glad we got it made. It's wonderful. I don't know much about fighting primordials. I'm going to try my best. Stay safe. If need be, you can ask the brigade for help, I think. Also, what was your reply to my last sending? Which was the one that I sent last episode. I was probably asleep. I missed it. But then I'll just scry on her.
Okay. Sure. The last session was months ago. You would have heard a reply by then. Let's see what Mindy has to say. She would been researching things about your vision. And we will get back to your response on that.
Okay, we'll skip to the scrying then.
Okay.
So.
You want to
since
go
I was-
ahead? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We'll go ahead and go to you.
Okay. Since I was not there,
Where were you?
I was in the woods, in a clearing. I'm sitting with my legs crossed, and the moonblade is resting on my knees as I am like hovering, kind of in trance, but not really. And I actually wanted to pray to Coralon. And I'm gonna say, before you say, what does it look like? Because I know you. I'm gonna say, Coralon, I don't know if you can hear me, but we face a great battle. And I am going into battle for you, but I need your guidance. I need you to tell me why you would teach a human and why you would be okay with him desecrating life. I just don't understand. And the promise of Arvindor. If you're okay with this necromancy, is that even real? Am I even talking to my husband? Or is that some joke that you've played on me? To make me follow you. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Signy. It begins to rain around you. In this small clearing of this forest, you feel the droplets hit you. All of a sudden, unnaturally. And then you look in front of you and you watch as the water droplets begin to take form as if they're filling up a container. In front of you, you begin to see a beautiful woman whom you would recognize as Sesson Moonbow, one of your pantheon who sided with Coralon. She stands tall and possibly slender, her skin a pale ashen gray, ears long. She wears white robes and her long white hair comes down to her ankles. In one hand, she holds her moon shaft, a quarterstaff with her symbol at the top. In front of you is the daughter of the night skies, the goddess of moonlight, the lady of dreams, the moonlit mystery and the mystic seer. She gives you a low nod.
I return it.
Signy, it is a pleasure to see you again. Coralon has called me to you. He says you are troubled. How can I help?
Tell me why. Tell me why Coralon would teach a human to desecrate life.
You speak of the human Nerul. It is true that Coralon has taught him arcane magic. I am puzzled by this as well. Coralon is a hard one to pin down. But I know he has a reason. The magic you speak of, necromancy, is not Coralon's magic. No, he learned that his own. Your blade, though. Your moon blade. You had questions about it, and as the one who forged it, I can provide you answers.
I am afraid that my belief in Arvindor is waning. I believe that the one that I speak to in Ifirinkal is not my husband Asmund.
Do you really wish to know for certain, Signy?
I do.
Roll perception or roll persuasion.
I got a 7 on that. I'm gonna use advantage because I got one. Oh, that was botched, or what? However, cocked. Botched. Oh boy, that's an 8. Can I crit on it? I'm gonna crit on it.
Okay.
I got one.
You say that you are ready to hear the truth. I will give it to you. That moonblade I forged. It is its own sentience. It is a copy. It is the essence of everything your husband was. That moonblade can only be wielded by you and your blood, your son and daughters, your son and your son's sons and your son's daughters. All of your... It's the opposite of ancestors. Descendants. All of your descendants will wield this blade in your name, in your husband's name, in the name of the Amaranths. It is yours. What you do with it is also yours. You are a free elf now, Signy. You do not bend to anyone's will but your own. Not mine, nor Coralon's. It was never our wish. It's never his wish. Make your own choices. be your own woman, Signy.
Well, I guess I can finally let him go.
I do not make promises easily, Signy. You know this. But I promise you that you will be with him once again. And this life, and another life, and many more lives after that. Now, Signy, should you wish, should you ask of me, I will fight alongside you to take down Nikal. And I will
It would bring me great honor to fight alongside of you.
then I will fight for you in your husband's name. The air around you grows a bit cold, and with a breeze, she disappears and you watch the essence of her flutter up and away. What else would you like to do? Would you like to stay here?
Yeah, I would just stay and look at the blade and cry. I don't want anybody else to see. Don't you come.
Madrian, you scry upon your wife. Just before you do, however, you catch.
Well, it sounds like you've had an interesting few days. I don't know much about that kind of magic, but I can look into it for you if you would like. The girls are doing well. They miss their dad, but I suppose that's to be expected. Know that we are all very proud of you. I miss you. And I love you, no matter how far away you may be. Well, it sounds like you've had an
All right. Madrian, you begin to scry on your wife. Oh gosh, hold on. Y'all, I'm doing great at this technology thing today. Mindy, why don't you go ahead and describe what Akali is doing?
So, Akalia has clearly not waited for a response. I'm also really good at technology, y'all. Akalia has clearly not waited for an actual response. She has already, you'll notice that what time is it? Time-wise?
Evening.
Evening. Okay, perfect. So you'll notice that it's pretty quiet in the house in general. That she is in an office. She is poring over a very large desk that is very familiar to you. Neil, can you answer your Discord, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do.
Okay. Imagine you would notice that although it is very familiar, you are very used to a very tidy, things are always in a very organized place. Everything has, she's all about structure and routine, but you notice that the desk is a little bit messier, and she is leaning over. The desk is much too big for her. And she is flipping through paper. She's taking little notes on random pieces of parchment that she can just get a hold of. You would also notice that that if you look at her, there are a few markings on her face that are unfamiliar to you. Blue sigils, they look magic in nature that you would have probably seen her use or at least try to show you at some point. Pretty discreet at this point. But they are definitely new. And you see every so often she pauses to kind of take a breath and recollect herself before diving back into her books and her writings to see if she can find some connection based on what information you just shared with her.
Well, definitely kicking myself in the pants for burning all those sending spells. That's unfortunate. Well, I'll let the scrying drop, and I'll go take a nap, I guess. Seems productive. Maybe I'm not gonna try for a vision. That's a foolish thing.
Is it?
Yeah, that's kind of a foolish thing. Not gonna do that. Not before a fight. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Would you like to pray for a vision?
Nah. I think there's a lot of praying tonight, and I'm not going to bog up the call center.
Speaking of prayers, Ruby, it's the middle of the night. Do you hear a gentle voice outside of your tent? Ruby, my dear, come out.
I will slowly get out of bed, rush to the door of the tent, and then stop. And then slowly walk out.
In the center, you see a glowing figure. Dark skin, brilliant red, hair made of fire, massive ethereal wings from her back. She gently touches down onto the ground in front of you. There you are. I have missed your face. Come here.
I will go.
She'll hold out both of her hands to you to take.
And I will reach out both.
How are you?
It's stupid of me to lie. A little nervous about what's going to happen in a couple days. You know as well as I have always helped Amy outside of the battle, never in it myself. So nervous, I guess. Anxious.
Those are all natural feelings. I would be worried if you weren't experiencing a little bit of apprehension. But Ruby, you shine so brightly. I see you have been doing great work.
I'm trying.
Avandra and Aurum have both agreed to join us, not in this battle, but in the battles to come. You have done amazing work, in my name and in yours. I am so proud.
I'm now red. I'm blushing.
I am grateful you are pleased, Dawnflower. I am only doing my best to do your work.
Is something the matter?
I am sure Aurum told you about what he asked of me. It has just been weighing heavily on me these past few weeks. And I'm afraid that if we fail in this battle, I'm afraid we might not recover. I'm afraid to lose more people. I'm afraid to lose Signy and Arvad and Madrian, and Madrian has a family he has to go back to, and I don't know if I could forgive myself if he didn't make it back. And Arvad has already suffered great loss. And Signy, she tries so hard not to let us see how she really feels. But she's hurting. And she's got someone she has to go back to.
Ruby, my love, your heart is hurting for what may or may not come. My dear, this is why you are so beloved. I know it pains you, but it is what makes you. Ruby Swiftfoot, in 2 days' time we will fight a great battle, and I have faith in you. That is why I sent you here, to join these people, to keep them alive, to keep yourself alive. Take a deep breath. Better. It is going to be all right. She will lean down and gently kiss your forehead. And you feel warmth wash over your entire body, like you have just suddenly found yourself relaxing on a beach. And when you open your eyes, she is gone. However, you have received the Dawnflower's blessing. This ability lets you, one time, do something very cool that I will message you. You are left in the quiet alone, but not exactly alone. You look around and you see, is everybody in a tent or is anybody sleeping under the stars?
I just sleep in a bedroll.
Yeah, I was supposed to say bedroll probably.
I'm still in the area where I was at.
Yeah, you
I
see
didn't go back.
Madrian and Arvad sleeping, and with Sarenrae's blessing comes a little bit of peace for the battle to come.
I would like to very carefully walk up to each of them and gently place my hand on each of their heads in turn and just say a silent
Signy, do you come back?
I think I come back, but not close to anybody.
Okay. Any last requests before we end the session? Okay. With a great battle looming ahead of you, and great victories behind you, that is where we will call it a session.